The monitor screamed, not beeped, screamed. I was 5 hours into my shift at St. Halstead when the paramedics burst through those double doors with a kid on the gurney who shouldn't have been conscious. Blood soaked through the bandages wrapped around his abdomen. His face was gray. His lips were blue at the edges, but his eyes were wide open, locked on the ceiling, and his mouth kept moving. "It's my graduation day," he whispered. "It's my graduation day." The attending physician, Dr. Cardenas, grabbed the rail of the gurney and started barking orders. "Trauma Bay 3, type and cross. Get me an ultrasound now." But the kid kept saying it, over and over, like a prayer, like a mantra, like the only thing keeping him tethered to this world. I pressed my stethoscope to his chest. His heartbeat was faint, irregular, racing to keep up with blood loss it couldn't outrun. And then his hand shot up and grabbed my wrist. His grip was cold, weak, but desperate. "Don't let me miss it," he said. I looked into his eyes and saw something I wasn't ready for. Not fear, not pain, hope. The kind of hope that breaks your heart because you know what's coming. The kind that makes you want to lie, to promise things you can't deliver, just to keep that light burning a few seconds longer. But what I found inside his body wasn't just trauma. It was a countdown, a biological clock ticking down to something none of us could see yet. And the truth hiding in his chest would change everything. My name is Dr. Noah Reyes. I'm 27 years old, and I've been a resident at Hospital St. Halstead for exactly 4 months and 13 days. Not that I'm counting, except I am. Every single day. 4 months of sleepless nights, impossible decisions, and learning that medical school taught me how to pass exams, but not how to hold someone's hand while their world falls apart. They don't teach you that in anatomy class. They don't teach you how to tell a mother her son might not make it. They don't teach you how to keep your voice steady when your hands are shaking. St. Halstead sits on the edge of a mid-sized city in the Midwest. It's a teaching hospital, which means it's part library, part battlefield. The building itself is old, built in the 70s with that brutalist architecture that makes everything look like a concrete fortress. But inside, it's a maze of stories. The hallways smell like disinfectant and burnt coffee. The fluorescent lights hum constantly, flickering in sections where the bulbs are dying, but maintenance hasn't gotten around to replacing them yet. Every room has a story. Every patient has a life I'm only seeing a chapter of. The walls are painted that institutional beige that's supposed to be calming but just makes everything look tired. There are motivational posters in the break rooms, images of sunrises and mountains with words like perseverance and excellence, but nobody looks at them anymore. We're too busy trying to stay awake. I chose internal medicine because I wanted to understand the whole person, not just fix the break or cut out the tumor. I wanted to know why the 70-year-old man stopped taking his diabetes medication, why the college student came in with chest pain but wouldn't look me in the eye, why the middle-aged woman with perfect vitals kept coming back to the ER with complaints that never quite added up. My parents didn't cross the border and work 16-hour days so I could be a doctor who only saw symptoms. My father cleaned office buildings at night. My mother worked in a laundromat, breathing in steam and detergent fumes for 12 years. They wanted me to see people, to understand that every body tells a story, and every story matters. I remember the day I got my acceptance letter to medical school. My mother cried. My father didn't say anything, just pulled me into a hug that lasted forever. They'd sacrificed everything, skipped meals, worked double shifts, lived in a one-bedroom apartment so I could have a desk to study at, and now here I was, Dr. Noah Reyes, resident internal medicine, still terrified I'd screw it all up. This morning started quietly, too quietly. The kind of quiet that makes you nervous because you know it won't last. I arrived at the hospital at 5:30 in the morning. The sun wasn't up yet. The sky was that deep purple gray that comes right before dawn. The parking lot was nearly empty except for the night shift cars and a few early birds like me. I grabbed my coffee from the machine in the lobby, bitter, burnt, the kind that coats your tongue with regret, and headed up to the 6th floor where the resident lounge was located. Emma was already there. Dr. Emma Park, my co-resident, sat at the long table with her laptop open, 3 charts spread out in front of her, and a protein bar halfway to her mouth. She didn't look up when I walked in. "You're late," she said. "It's 5:40. Rounds start at 6. That means you should be here at 5:20. I dropped into the chair across from her. "You're going to give yourself an ulcer. Already have one." She finally looked up. Her eyes were sharp, dark, framed by glasses that were perpetually slipping down her nose. "Did you review the liver failure case from yesterday?" I had. I'd stayed up until 2 in the morning reading about hepatic encephalopathy, portal hypertension, and the criteria for transplant listing. I'd read until the words blurred together, and I couldn't remember if I was reading about patients or just staring at letters on a screen. "Yeah," I said. "And? She's not going to make it. Not without a transplant. And she's not high enough on the list." Emma nodded, closed her laptop. "Her husband asked me this morning if there was anything else we could do." "What did you say?" "I told him the truth, that we've done everything, that sometimes medicine has limits." I looked at her. "How do you do that?" "Do what?" "Say it without breaking." She was quiet for a moment. Then she picked up her coffee, took a sip, and looked me straight in the eye. "I break," she said, "just not in front of them." We sat in silence for a minute. The clock on the wall ticked. Outside, the city was waking up. Car horns, distant sirens, the hum of life continuing whether we were ready or not. "Come on," Emma said, standing. "Pre-rounds." We made our way through the hospital. The ICU was on the 4th floor. We took the stairs because the elevators were slow and we needed to move. My legs burned by the 2nd flight. I made a mental note to start running again, or sleeping, or eating something other than vending machine food. The ICU was dim. The lights were turned down for the night shift, only the glow of monitors and the soft beeps of machines filling the space. Nurses moved quietly between rooms, checking IVs, adjusting ventilators, whispering to patients who couldn't hear them, but maybe felt the presence anyway. We had 6 patients to see before rounds. I pulled out my list, scribbled notes on index cards that I kept in my coat pocket, patient names, room numbers, diagnoses, things to follow up on. Room 401, Mr. Jennings, 72, congestive heart failure, fluid overload. We'd started him on diuretics yesterday. I needed to check his weight, his lung sounds, his urine output. Room 403, Mrs. Patterson, 65, pneumonia, sepsis, on broad-spectrum antibiotics. Cultures still pending. I needed to see if her white count was coming down, if her fever had broken. Room 405, the woman with cirrhosis, Sarah Mitchell, 42, 2 kids, husband in the waiting room. I didn't want to go in that room, but I had to. Emma and I split up. She took the even rooms. I took the odd ones. I stepped into room 401 first. Mr. Jennings was awake. He smiled when he saw me. He was a retired postal worker with a thick mustache and hands that shook slightly from a central tremor. He'd been in and out of the hospital 4 times this year. "Morning, Doc," he said. His voice was rough, gravelly. "Morning, Mr. Jennings. How are you feeling?" "Like I got kicked by a horse, but I'm still here." I listened to his lungs. They sounded clearer. The crackles from yesterday were fading. Good sign. I checked his weight on the monitor. Down 3 pounds. The diuretics were working. "You're doing better," I said. "Thanks to you folks." I smiled. But I knew the truth. He'd be back. In a month, maybe 2. Heart failure doesn't go away. We just manage it. Buy time. Hope for more good days than bad ones. I moved to the next room. Then the next. Each patient, a puzzle. Each puzzle, a life. By the time I reached room 405, I could feel the weight settling in my chest. Sarah Mitchell was asleep, or unconscious. It was hard to tell anymore. Her skin was yellow, jaundiced. Her abdomen was distended from ascites, fluid buildup that we'd drained twice already. It kept coming back. Her husband sat in the chair beside her bed. He looked up when I walked in. His eyes were red-rimmed, hollow. "Any change?" he asked. I checked her chart. Liver enzymes still elevated. Ammonia levels climbing. She was slipping into hepatic encephalopathy. Her brain was being poisoned by toxins her liver couldn't filter anymore. "We're doing everything we can," I said. It was the truth, but it felt like a lie. He nodded, looked back at his wife. "She was supposed to see our daughter graduate next week. High school. She's been planning it for months." My throat tightened. Graduation. That word kept coming up, like the universe was trying to tell me something. I finished rounds and met Emma back in the hallway. We stood under that flickering light, flipping through charts, comparing notes. "Jennings is improving," I said. "Patterson's white count is down. Mitchell is..." I trailed off. Emma looked at me. "You okay?" "Yeah, just tired." Liar. I almost smiled. The overhead speakers crackled to life. "All available personnel to the ER. Trauma incoming. All available personnel to the ER." Emma and I looked at each other. "Here we go," she said. We ran. The hospital transformed when trauma came in. The quiet rhythm shattered. Suddenly there were people everywhere. Nurses prepping bays, Techs pulling equipment, attendings barking orders. The air itself felt different, charged, electric. I pulled on a gown, gloves. The snap of latex was sharp in my ears. My heart was already racing. This was the part of the job that still made my stomach twist. The part where everything happens at once and you have to make decisions faster than you can think. The part where hesitation can cost someone their life. Dr. Cardenas was waiting at the trauma bay. Dr. Sophia Cardenas, attending physician, 15 years of experience, gray streaks in her black hair, eyes that missed nothing, hands that never shook. She looked at me. "You ready, Reyes?" "Yes." "Good. You're primary on this one. I'll supervise." My pulse spiked. Primary meant I was the first responder, the one making the initial assessment, the one whose decisions would set the course for everything that followed. No pressure. The radio crackled again. "Incoming trauma, ETA 2 minutes, male, 18 years old, motor vehicle accident, unrestrained driver, blunt force trauma to the abdomen, hypotensive, tachycardic, GCS 13, 18 years old, just a kid." "Reyes," Dr. Cardenas said, "what's your approach?" I forced my mind to focus. Training kicked in. ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation. Secure the airway first. Assess breathing. 2 large bore IVs. Fluids. Fast exam to check for internal bleeding. Type and cross. Activate massive transfusion protocol if needed. She nodded. "Good. Stay calm. Stay systematic. Don't skip steps." The doors burst open, and they wheeled him in. The first thing I noticed was his eyes. They were open, wide, blue-green, staring at the ceiling like he was looking for something. Like if he just focused hard enough, he could find his way back to wherever he'd been before the metal and glass and physics took over. The second thing I noticed was the blood. It had soaked through the bandages the paramedics had wrapped around his abdomen. Dark red, almost black, spreading. The kind of bleeding that doesn't stop on its own. The kind that means something inside is very, very wrong. His t-shirt had been cut away. Beneath it, his torso was a canvas of trauma. Bruising spread across his left side like spilled ink. Purple, black, dark blue at the edges. The steering wheel had crushed into him. I could see the pattern of it in the bruising. A perfect arc. Physics made visible. But he was conscious, breathing, talking. "It's my graduation day," he said. His voice was thin, reedy, but insistent. "It's my graduation day." The paramedic, a woman in her 40s with short gray hair and tired eyes, met me at the gurney. "What do we have?" I asked. She rattled off the details while we moved. Fast, purposeful, every second counted. Ethan Cross, 18 years old, high school senior, single vehicle MVC on Route 47. Witness says he drifted into oncoming lane, overcorrected, left the road and hit a tree at approximately 40 miles per hour. Unrestrained. Steering wheel impact to the chest and abdomen. He was conscious at the scene. Complained of abdominal pain and dizziness. Vitals at the scene were BP 80/50, heart rate 120, respirations 22, oxygen sat 94% on room air. "Current vitals?" I asked. "BP 70/40, heart rate 130, respirations 24, oxygen sat 92% on 15 liters high flow." My stomach dropped. His blood pressure was falling. His heart was racing to compensate. He was losing blood faster than his body could manage. We transferred him to the trauma bay bed. The team swarmed. Nurses cutting away the rest of his clothing. Techs placing monitors. Someone calling out vitals. Someone else starting IVs. Dr. Cardenas stood at the foot of the bed, watching, evaluating. She caught my eye and nodded. "Your show, Reyes." I stepped to the head of the bed and looked down at Ethan. "Ethan, my name is Dr. Reyes. You've been in a car accident. We're at St. Halstead Hospital. We're going to take care of you. Can you hear me?" He blinked, focused on my face. "I hear you." "Good, that's good. Can you tell me where you hurt?" He swallowed. His Adam's apple bobbed. "My side. Left side, it feels heavy, like something's pressing on it." "Okay, we're going to figure out what's going on. I need to examine you. Is that okay?" He nodded. I placed my hands on his abdomen, gently, systematically. Right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, right lower, left lower. When I pressed on his left upper quadrant, he gasped, his whole body tensed. "Sharp pain?" I asked. "Yeah, really sharp. Guarding, tenderness, possible splenic injury, or liver, or both." I grabbed my stethoscope and listened to his chest. Breath sounds were equal bilaterally. Good, no pneumothorax. Lungs were clear. Heart sounds were rapid but regular. No murmurs. "Reyes," Dr. Cardenas said quietly. "Fast exam." "Right. Focused assessment with sonography for trauma. The ultrasound that would tell me if there was free fluid, blood in his abdomen." I grabbed the portable ultrasound machine. The screen flickered to life. I squeezed gel onto the probe. Cold. Clear. It dripped onto the bed. "Ethan, I'm going to use this ultrasound to look inside your belly. It won't hurt. Just going to feel cold. Okay?" "Okay." I placed the probe on his right upper quadrant, Morrison's pouch, the space between the liver and the kidney where free fluid collects first. The image appeared on the screen, and my heart sank. Dark. Anechoic. Free fluid. A lot of it. "Positive Morrison's," I said. Dr. Cardenas leaned in. "How much?" "Moderate to large." I moved the probe, left upper quadrant, splenorenal recess, more fluid, even more than the right side. "Positive splenorenal," I said. "Large volume." I checked the pelvis. The suprapubic view, fluid there too. "He's got free fluid in all 4 quadrants," I said. "He's bleeding, significantly." Dr. Cardenas stepped forward. Her voice was calm, steady. The kind of calm that only comes from doing this 1,000 times. "Okay, we need to move fast. Reyes, call surgery. Tell them we have an 18-year-old male with blunt abdominal trauma and significant hemoperitoneum. He needs an X-lap now. Activate massive transfusion protocol. Type and cross for 8 units. Get me a central line kit and put in a cordis. We need access." The room exploded into controlled chaos. I stepped back. Let the nurses take over. They moved like a choreographed dance. One placing the central line, another hanging blood, a third documenting everything. The monitors beeped, alarms chimed, voices overlapped. But through it all, I could hear Ethan. "It's my graduation day. It's my graduation day." He kept saying it, over and over, like a broken record, like the only thought his brain could hold on to while everything else slipped away. Dr. Cardenas put her hand on his shoulder. "Ethan, listen to me. You're bleeding inside. We need to take you to surgery right now. Do you understand?" His eyes found hers. Will I make it?" She didn't hesitate. "We're going to do everything we can. My mom, is she here? We're calling her right now. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I tried." My throat tightened. "Tried to do what?" Dr. Cardenas asked. "To make her proud." His hand reached out, grabbed her wrist. His grip was weak, trembling. "Please don't let me miss it. I worked so hard. 4 years. I need to walk. I need her to see me walk." Dr. Cardenas looked at him, really looked at him, and I saw something flicker across her face, something I'd never seen before. Uncertainty, because we both knew the truth. This kid might not make it to surgery, let alone graduation. "We'll do our best," she said softly. The surgical team arrived. Dr. Hassan, trauma surgery, tall, lean, Pakistani. He'd been at St. Halstead for 10 years. He'd seen everything. Gunshot wounds, stabbings, motorcycle crashes, industrial accidents. Nothing rattled him. He looked at the ultrasound images on the screen, looked at Ethan's vitals, looked at the blood pressure dropping despite the fluids and the transfusions. "Or 2 is open," he said. "Let's move." We transferred Ethan onto the surgical gurney. The anesthesiologist took over at the head of the bed. Dr. Patel. She was in her 50s, calm, methodical. She placed her hand on Ethan's forehead. "Ethan, I'm Dr. Patel. I'm going to put you to sleep for the surgery. You won't feel anything. When you wake up, it'll all be over, okay?" He nodded, but his eyes were still searching, still looking for something. "My cap and gown," he whispered. "They're still in the car. We'll get them," Dr. Patel said. Even though we all knew the car was probably totaled, even though the cap and gown were probably soaked in blood and gasoline. But sometimes lies are kinder than truth. Ethan's eyes started to close. The sedatives were taking effect, but just before he went under, he looked at me, right at me. "Tell her I tried," he whispered, and then he was gone. I stood in the hallway outside the OR for a long time. The doors had closed. The red light above them glowed. Surgery in progress. Do not enter. Inside, they were opening him up, searching for the source of the bleeding, trying to save a kid who should have been walking across a stage right now instead of lying on an operating table. My hands were shaking. I looked down at them, saw the blood on my gloves, Ethan's blood. I pulled them off, dropped them in the biohazard bin, washed my hands at the sink. Hot water, soap, scrubbing until my skin turned red. "Reyes." I looked up. Dr. Cardenas stood in the doorway. You did well in there, she said. I didn't do anything. You recognized the bleeding. You stayed calm. You didn't panic. That matters. I dried my hands on a paper towel. Will he make it? She was quiet for a moment. Hassan's good. The best we have. If anyone can save him, it's Hassan. That wasn't an answer. She stepped closer. Listen to me. You can't save everyone. You're going to learn that the hard way, over and over. And it's going to hurt every single time, but you can't let it paralyze you. You have to keep moving, keep learning, keep showing up. I nodded, but I wasn't sure I believed her. Go take a break, she said. Get some coffee. Eat something. You've been on since 5:30. You need fuel. I'm okay. That's an order, Reyes. I left. The hospital cafeteria was on the first floor. It smelled like industrial eggs and burnt toast. The fluorescent lights were too bright. Everything was white and chrome and sterile. I grabbed a cup of coffee and a banana, sat down at a table in the corner, alone, but I couldn't eat. I kept hearing Ethan's voice. Tell her I tried. Who was he talking about? His mother? A girlfriend? A teacher? And tried to do what? Make her proud. That's what he'd said to Dr. Cardenas. I pulled out my phone, opened the hospital database, searched for Ethan Cross. His chart popped up. Minimal medical history. A broken arm at age 10. A sprained ankle at 15, otherwise healthy. No chronic conditions, no medications, no allergies. Emergency contact, Linda Cross, mother, phone number listed. I stared at the number. I shouldn't call. I wasn't the attending. I wasn't even the primary anymore. My job was done, but I couldn't let it go. I needed to understand who this kid was, why graduation mattered so much, what he was trying to prove. I called. The phone rang 3 times. Then a woman's voice answered, shaky, breathless. Hello? Mrs. Cross? This is Dr. Reyes from St. Halstead Hospital. I'm one of the residents who treated your son Ethan when he came in. Silence. Then a sob. Is he alive? Please tell me he's alive. He's in surgery right now. The surgeons are working on him. He's stable. Another sob. Relief and terror mixed together. Thank God. Thank God. I'm on my way. I'm almost there. I couldn't believe it when they called. He was fine this morning. He was so happy. And then, her voice broke. Mrs. Cross, can I ask you something? Ethan kept talking about graduation, about walking. Can you tell me about that? She took a shuddering breath. He's been working toward this day for 4 years. He's valedictorian, straight A's, perfect attendance. He got a full scholarship to State University. He's the first person in our family who's going to college. Pride, pain, love, all of it tangled in her voice. He wanted this so badly, she continued. After his father left, it's been just us, just me and him. And he's been so strong, so responsible. He works part-time at the grocery store, helps with bills, takes care of me when I'm sick. And today was supposed to be his day, his moment. What time was the ceremony? I asked. 3 o'clock at the high school. I was already there, sitting in the bleachers, waiting for him. And then I got the call. I looked at my watch. It was 1:15. He'd been on his way to graduation when he crashed. Mrs. Cross, when you get to the hospital, go to the surgical waiting room on the 3rd floor. Someone will update you as soon as we know more. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. She hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone. 4 years, valedictorian, full scholarship, first in his family to go to college. And now he was on an operating table, bleeding out, while his mother sat in a waiting room wondering if her son would survive. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. Ethan was 18, healthy, no medical history. Why would he lose control of his car? The paramedic said a witness reported he drifted into oncoming traffic, then overcorrected. That didn't sound like reckless driving. It sounded like something else, something medical. I pulled up his chart again, looked at his vitals from the scene. BP 80/50, heart rate 120, low blood pressure, high heart rate. That made sense given the blood loss. But what if the blood loss wasn't the cause? What if it was the effect? What if something happened to him before the crash? Something that made him drift? Something that made him lose control? I needed more information. I headed back upstairs, found Emma in the resident lounge. She was eating a salad and reading a journal article on her tablet. Hey, I said. She looked up. How'd the trauma go? He's in surgery. Blunt abdominal trauma. Probable splenic laceration. Maybe liver too. Hassan's working on him now. Age? 18. She winced. The young ones are the worst. Yeah. I sat down across from her. Can I ask you something? Shoot. If you had an 18-year-old kid, healthy, no medical history, and he loses control of his car for no apparent reason, what would you think? She put down her fork. Drugs? Alcohol? Negative. Paramedics checked. Distracted driving? Phone? Maybe. But he told the paramedics he felt dizzy before the crash. Emma's eyes sharpened. Dizzy? Yeah. She leaned back, thinking. Dizziness in a young, healthy person. Sudden onset. Could be a lot of things. Orthostatic hypotension, dehydration, arrhythmia, seizure, vasovagal episode. Which one would you bet on? Not enough information. You'd need to rule things out. EKG, labs, imaging, history. What if I told you he's been having episodes of dizziness over the past couple weeks? Emma's eyebrows shot up. Then it's not acute. It's chronic, or at least recurrent. That changes things. How? It means something's been wrong for a while. He just didn't know it, or ignored it. She picked up her tablet, pulled up a diagnostic algorithm. Recurrent dizziness in a young adult. Let's think systematically. Cardiovascular causes, arrhythmia, structural heart disease, long QT syndrome, neurological, vestibular issues, migraine, seizure disorder, metabolic, hypoglycemia, electrolyte imbalance, psychiatric, anxiety, panic attacks. She looked at me. Did he seem anxious? I thought back. Ethan's face, his eyes, his voice? No. He seemed determined, focused. He kept talking about graduation, about making his mother proud. Okay, so probably not psychiatric. What about his physical exam? Anything abnormal? He had significant abdominal tenderness, but that was from the trauma. Heart sounds were regular but tachycardic. Breath sounds clear. No neurological deficits that I could assess given the circumstances. Emma drummed her fingers on the table. If I had to guess, I'd say cardiac. Young guy, recurrent dizziness, sudden syncope-like episode while driving. Could be an arrhythmia, maybe long QT syndrome, maybe Brugada, maybe hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. How would you confirm? EKG first, then echo if the EKG shows anything. Maybe a Holter monitor if you need continuous monitoring. Genetic testing if you suspect a hereditary condition. I stood up. I need to get an EKG. He's in surgery, Reyes. You can't exactly slap electrodes on him while Hassan's got his abdomen open. When he gets out, as soon as he's stable. I'll order it then. Emma looked at me, really looked at me. Why do you care so much? Because he asked me to tell her he tried, and I need to know what he was trying to do. She nodded slowly. Okay, but be careful. Don't get too attached. You'll burn out before you finish your first year. I'll be fine. That's what everyone says. I left the lounge and headed back to the OR wing. The light above OR2 was still red, still in progress. I found a chair in the hallway, sat down, waited. Residents aren't supposed to wait outside the OR for patients who aren't theirs anymore. We're supposed to move on, see the next patient, write the next note, keep the machine running. But I couldn't move. I kept thinking about Ethan's mother, sitting in the waiting room, alone, terrified. I stood up, made a decision. I went to find her. The surgical waiting room was on the 3rd floor. It was a rectangle of beige walls and uncomfortable chairs. There was a coffee station in the corner with a pot that looked like it had been brewing since the 90s. A TV mounted on the wall played a cooking show with the volume turned down. Nobody was watching. Linda Cross sat alone. She was easy to spot. Mid-40s, blonde hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, jeans and a t-shirt that said Ridgewood High School Class of 2025 with a cartoon graduation cap. Her hands were folded in her lap. Her eyes were fixed on the door, waiting, hoping, praying. I walked over. Mrs. Cross? She looked up. Her eyes were red-rimmed, swollen. She'd been crying. Yes? I'm Dr. Reyes. We spoke on the phone. She stood immediately. Is he okay? Is Ethan okay? He's still in surgery. The operation is ongoing. I don't have an update yet, but I wanted to come talk to you, see if you needed anything. Her face crumpled. She sat back down hard, put her face in her hands. I don't understand, she said, her voice muffled. He was fine. He was so happy this morning. He made breakfast, pancakes, his favorite. He was singing in the shower, singing, and then she looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. How does this happen? How does your whole world just fall apart in a second? I sat down next to her. I'm so sorry. I know this is terrifying. Terrifying doesn't even cover it. He's my baby, my only child. If I lose him, she couldn't finish the sentence. I let her cry. Sometimes that's all you can do. Just sit with someone in their pain and let them feel it. After a few minutes, she wiped her eyes, took a shaky breath. Can I ask you something? I said gently. She nodded. Ethan kept talking about graduation, about walking. Can you tell me why that was so important to him? Linda let out a long breath. Everything about Ethan is about proving himself, about being better, stronger, about not making the mistakes his father made. His father? Left when Ethan was 6. Just walked out one day. Said he couldn't handle the responsibility. Said he needed to find himself. She laughed bitterly. He found himself in Nevada with a 23-year-old cocktail waitress. Hasn't seen Ethan since. I'm sorry. Don't be. We're better off without him. But it left a mark on Ethan. Made him feel like he had to be perfect. Like if he achieved enough, succeeded enough, maybe he could prove that he was worth staying for. My chest tightened. So he threw himself into school, Linda continued. Straight A's. Every year. Never missed a day. Joined clubs, volunteered, worked part-time at the grocery store to help with bills. He never complained. Not once. Even when I got sick last year. I had pneumonia, was in the hospital for a week. He took care of everything. Paid the bills, did the laundry, made sure I had food when I came home. He sounds incredible. He is. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. And today was supposed to be his day. The culmination of everything he's worked for. Valedictorian, full scholarship. He was going to give a speech in front of the whole school, and I was going to be there, in the front row, watching him. She pulled a tissue from her purse, dabbed at her eyes. This morning, before he left, he hugged me, really hugged me, and he said, Mom, today is for you. Everything I've done is for you. And I told him how proud I was, how much I loved him, how he'd already made me prouder than he could ever know. She looked at me. That was 2 hours ago. And now he's in surgery and I don't know if he's going to make it. He's strong, I said. He's fighting. Is that enough? I wanted to say yes. I wanted to promise her that everything would be okay, that her son would walk out of here and go to his graduation and give his speech and make her proud, but I couldn't make promises I couldn't keep. The surgical team is excellent, I said. They're doing everything they can. She nodded, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. Mrs. Cross, can I ask you something else? Something medical? Of course. Has Ethan ever had any health problems? Anything at all? She frowned. No, he's always been healthy. Broke his arm when he was 10 playing soccer. Sprained his ankle in PE a few years ago, but nothing serious. Why? The paramedics said he reported feeling dizzy before the crash. Has he mentioned feeling dizzy recently? Or any other symptoms? She thought for a moment. Actually, yeah, now that you mention it. About 2 weeks ago, he came home from work and said he felt weird, lightheaded. I asked if he was okay and he said he was fine, just tired, needed to eat something. Did it happen again? I think so, maybe once or twice. He'd sit down suddenly, put his head between his knees. I asked him about it, but he always brushed it off, said it was stress, or he'd stood up too fast. You know how teenage boys are. They think they're invincible, but they're not, I thought. Did he ever see a doctor about it? No. I told him he should, but he said he was fine, that he didn't have time. He was too busy with school and work and getting ready for graduation. I made a mental note. Recurrent dizziness, 2 weeks, multiple episodes. Dismissed as stress, classic presentation of something being missed. Mrs. Cross, when Ethan gets out of surgery and is stable, I'd like to run some tests to see if there's an underlying medical condition that might have caused the dizziness. Her eyes widened. You think something's wrong with him? Besides the accident? I think it's worth investigating just to be safe. She nodded slowly. Okay, whatever you need to do, just please help him. I will, I promise. The door to the waiting room opened. A nurse stepped in. Scrubs, surgical cap, mask pulled down around her neck. Mrs. Cross? Linda stood, her whole body tensed. Yes? Dr. Hassan asked me to update you. The surgery is going well. They've identified the source of the bleeding and are working to control it. It's going to be a while longer, but your son is stable. Linda's knees buckled. I reached out to steady her. He's okay, she whispered. He's stable, the nurse repeated. We'll keep you updated. She left. Linda turned to me, grabbed my hands. Thank you, she said. Thank you for being here, for caring, for not just seeing him as another patient. He's not just another patient, I said, and I meant it. I shouldn't have stayed. I had other patients, other responsibilities. Emma was probably covering for me. Dr. Cardenas was probably wondering where I was, but I couldn't leave. I went back to the OR wing, found a computer terminal. logged in, pulled up Ethan's chart. The surgery had been going for 90 minutes. I scrolled through the operative notes that were being documented in real time by the surgical nurse. 0945, midline laparotomy performed. Significant hemoperitoneum noted. Approximately 1,500 cc of blood in peritoneal cavity. 1,500 cc's. That's 1.5 liters. A significant amount of blood. Enough to cause shock. Enough to kill. 0952. Splenic injury identified. Grade 4 laceration with active bleeding. Spleen mobilized. Grade 4. That meant the spleen was shattered. Not just cut, shattered. Like someone had taken a hammer to it. 1000. Attempted splenography unsuccessful due to extent of injury. Decision made to proceed with splenectomy. They were taking it out. The whole organ. It was the only way to stop the bleeding. 1015. Splenectomy completed. Hemostasis achieved. Estimated blood loss 2,200 cc. 2,200 cc's. 2 liters. Almost half of his total blood volume. But they'd stopped the bleeding. He was stable. I kept reading. 1020. Hepatic examination performed. Grade 2 liver laceration noted on left lobe. No active bleeding. Conservative management elected. The liver was injured too, but not as badly. They could leave it alone. Let it heal on its own. 1025. Thorough abdominal exploration performed. No additional injuries identified. Bowel intact. No hollow organ perforation. Good. No damage to the intestines. No leaks. No contamination. 1030. Irrigation and closure in progress. They were finishing up, washing out the blood, closing him layer by layer. I leaned back in my chair, let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. He'd made it through surgery. The door to OR2 opened. Dr. Hassan stepped out. He was still in his surgical gown, blood staining the front. He pulled off his cap. His face was tired but satisfied. I stood. Dr. Hassan. He looked at me. Reyes, what are you doing here? I was the primary on Ethan Cross when he came in. I wanted to see how he did. Hassan nodded. Respect flickered in his eyes. He did well. Took out his spleen. Liver had a small laceration, but it'll heal on its own. He lost a lot of blood, but we transfused him. He's stable. Vitals are good. We're taking him to the ICU for monitoring. Any complications? Not surgical. But that kid is lucky to be alive. Another 20 minutes and he would have bled out. Thank you for saving him. Hassan put a hand on my shoulder. You saved him, Reyes. You recognized the bleeding. You called it early. You got him here fast. That's what made the difference. He walked away. I stood there, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could be the kind of doctor my parents dreamed I'd be. But there was still something nagging at me. The dizziness, the episodes, the crash. None of it made sense. I needed answers. Ethan was transferred to the ICU at 11:30. I followed the gurney up, watched as they settled him into his room. Room 412, corner unit with windows overlooking the parking lot. He was still unconscious, intubated. A breathing tube down his throat connected to a ventilator. The machine breathed for him. In, out, rhythmic, steady. Monitors surrounded him. EKG tracing his heart rhythm, pulse ox measuring his oxygen, arterial line tracking his blood pressure beat by beat. His abdomen was wrapped in white bandages. Already there was a small spot of red seeping through. Surgical drain in place. Clear tubing carrying blood-tinged fluid into a collection bag. But he was alive. I stood at the foot of his bed, watching his chest rise and fall with the ventilator. Reyes! I turned. Dr. Cardenas stood in the doorway. You've been with this patient all morning, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes. Why? I hesitated. Something doesn't add up. Explain. He's 18, healthy, no medical history, but he's been having episodes of dizziness for 2 weeks. And today, on his way to graduation, he loses control of his car and crashes. Dr. Cardenas crossed her arms. You think there's an underlying medical condition? I do. What are you thinking? Cardiac arrhythmia, maybe long QT syndrome, maybe something structural. She walked to the bedside, looked at the monitors. His rhythm looks normal now, because he's sedated, on a ventilator, controlled environment. But what about when he's awake, when he's under stress? She was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, run your workup. EKG when he wakes up. Echo, labs, Holter monitor if you think it's necessary. But don't let this consume you. You still have other patients. I know. Do you? She looked at me. Really looked at me. You're a good resident, Reyes. You care. That's rare. But you need to learn how to compartmentalize. Otherwise, this job will destroy you. How do you do it? Lots of therapy and wine. She almost smiled. Then she left. I pulled up a chair, sat next to Ethan's bed. Clara, the ICU nurse, came in to check his vitals. She was in her 50s, short, round, kind eyes. She'd been a nurse for 30 years. She'd seen more than any resident ever would. You planning on camping out here? She asked, just for a bit. She adjusted his IV, checked his urine output. His mom's in the waiting room. You should tell her he's okay. I will. Clara paused, looked at me. What's your interest in this kid? I don't know. He just got to me. The young ones always do. She sighed. You want my advice? Always. Don't get attached. I know it's hard, but you have to protect yourself. Otherwise, you'll take every patient home with you, and you'll never sleep again. Too late. She patted my shoulder. Then at least take care of yourself. Eat. Rest. You're no good to anyone if you collapse. She left. I sat alone with Ethan, listening to the machines, watching his chest rise and fall, and I made a decision. I was going to figure out what happened to him. I was going to find the answer, not just for him, but for his mother, for everyone who'd worked so hard to save him. I pulled out my phone, started researching. Long QT syndrome, a genetic disorder affecting the electrical system of the heart, can cause sudden cardiac arrhythmias, syncope, sudden death, symptoms, palpitations, dizziness, fainting, often triggered by stress, exercise, loud noises. Diagnosis: EKG showing prolonged QT interval. Genetic testing. Treatment: beta blockers. Lifestyle modifications. Sometimes an implantable defibrillator. It fit. The recurrent dizziness. The syncope-like episode while driving. The stress of graduation day. It all fit. But I needed proof. I logged into the hospital system. Ordered an EKG for when Ethan was extubated. Ordered an echocardiogram. Comprehensive metabolic panel. Cardiac enzymes. Genetic testing panel for inherited arrhythmia syndromes. Then I went to find Linda. She was still in the waiting room, sitting in the same chair. She looked up when I walked in. He's out of surgery, I said. He's in the ICU. He's stable. She burst into tears. I sat down next to her, let her cry. Can I see him? She asked. Yes, but he's still sedated, still on the ventilator. He's going to look like he's sleeping, and there will be a lot of tubes and machines. It can be overwhelming. I don't care. I need to see him. I walked her to the ICU, stood beside her as she entered room 412. She stopped in the doorway, put her hand over her mouth. Oh, Ethan, she whispered. She walked to his bedside, sat down, took his hand in hers. I'm here, baby. Mom's here. You're going to be okay. You're so strong, so brave. I'm so proud of you. She kissed his forehead. I left them alone. 24 hours later, Ethan was awake. They'd extubated him that morning, pulled the breathing tube out. He'd coughed, gagged, but he was breathing on his own. Oxygen mask in place. Saturation 96%. I was there when he opened his eyes. He blinked, confused, disoriented. His eyes darted around the room, trying to make sense of where he was. Ethan, I said gently, you're in the hospital. You were in a car accident. You had surgery, but you're okay. You're going to be okay. He tried to speak. His voice was rough, hoarse from the breathing tube. Mom? She's right here. Linda leaned into his view, tears streaming down her face. I'm here, sweetie. I'm right here. He closed his eyes. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? I missed it. I missed graduation. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're alive. He opened his eyes again, looked at her. But I wanted you to see me walk. I will. When you walk out of this hospital, that's all the graduation I need. He started crying, quiet, exhausted. I stepped forward. Ethan, I need to ask you some questions. Medical questions, is that okay? He nodded. Before the crash, you told the paramedics you felt dizzy. Can you tell me more about that? He swallowed, winced. His throat was sore. It just came out of nowhere. I was driving, and then everything started spinning. I couldn't see straight. My hands went numb. I tried to pull over, but I couldn't control the car. Had that happened before? He hesitated. Yeah, a few times. When? The past couple weeks, maybe 3 or 4 times. It would just hit me. I'd feel dizzy. My heart would start racing, and then it would pass. What were you doing when it happened? Different things. Once I was at work, lifting boxes. Once I was at school, during a test. Once I was just walking. Did you tell anyone? He shook his head. I thought it was stress, or I wasn't sleeping enough. I didn't think it was a big deal. I pulled up a chair. Ethan, I think there might be an underlying medical condition that's been causing these episodes. Something with your heart. His eyes widened. My heart? It's called long QT syndrome. It's a genetic condition that affects the electrical system of your heart. It can cause sudden arrhythmias, irregular heart rhythms, that lead to dizziness and fainting. Linda gripped his hand tighter. Is it serious? It can be, if untreated, but it's manageable. With medication and lifestyle changes, people with long QT syndrome live normal, healthy lives. How do you know I have it? Ethan asked. I don't. Not yet. But I've ordered tests. An EKG, an echocardiogram, some blood work. We should have answers soon. He nodded. Exhausted. Get some rest, I said. We'll figure this out. I left the room, headed to the cardiology lab. The EKG tech was waiting for me. Young guy, early 20s, headphones around his neck. You the one who ordered the EKG on Cross? Yeah, let's do it. We went back to Ethan's room, placed the electrodes, chest, arms, legs. The machine hummed to life. The tracing appeared on the screen, and there it was. QT interval, 480 milliseconds. Normal is less than 440, prolonged. I felt my heart skip. Print it, I said. The tech printed the EKG, handed it to me. I stared at the tracing. The prolonged QT interval was subtle, easy to miss if you weren't looking for it, but it was there. I took the EKG to Dr. Cardenas, found her in the attending lounge. She was eating a sandwich and reading a journal. Look at this, I said. She took the EKG, studied it. Prolonged QT, 480 milliseconds. She looked up at me. You were right. I need cardiology to see him. Already on it. She pulled out her phone, texted someone. Dr. Monroe is the best we have. She'll come by this afternoon. Thank you. Reyes. She stood, put a hand on my shoulder. You did good work. You didn't just save this kid's life in the trauma bay. You might have saved it for the long term. I nodded, feeling a weight lift. But there was still more to do. Dr. Rachel Monroe was a cardiologist in her early 40s. Sharp, no nonsense. She'd trained at Johns Hopkins, published dozens of papers. She didn't waste time. She examined Ethan that afternoon, listened to his heart, reviewed his EKG, ordered an echocardiogram. I stood in the corner of the room, watching, learning. Ethan, Dr. Sal, Monroe said. Dr. Reyes was right. You have long QT syndrome. Specifically, based on your QT interval and your history, I suspect type 2. What does that mean? Ethan asked. It means the electrical signals in your heart take longer than normal to reset after each beat. This can cause your heart to beat erratically. When that happens, blood flow to your brain drops. That's why you get dizzy. Sometimes people faint. In severe cases, it can cause sudden cardiac death. Linda gasped. Doctor, Monroe raised a hand. But that's the worst case scenario, and it's preventable. We're going to start you on a medication called a beta blocker. It'll slow your heart rate and reduce the risk of arrhythmias. You'll also need to make some lifestyle changes. Avoid intense exercise, avoid loud noises, manage stress, stay hydrated, keep your electrolytes balanced. Will I be able to go to college? Ethan asked. Absolutely. You'll just need to be smart about it. Check in with a cardiologist regularly. Take your medication. Listen to your body. You can live a completely normal life. What about driving? Dr. Monroe paused. We'll need to see how you respond to treatment. If your symptoms are controlled, yes, but you'll need clearance from cardiology first. Ethan nodded. Processing. We're also going to do genetic testing, Dr. Monroe continued. Long QT syndrome is hereditary. It's possible other family members have it too. Linda's face went pale. My mother died of a heart attack when she was 52. They said it was sudden. She just collapsed. Dr. Monroe looked at her. That fits the profile. Sudden cardiac death in a relatively young person. It's possible she had long QT syndrome and didn't know it. So this is genetic? From my side of the family? Most likely. We'll test you too, just to be safe. Linda nodded, tears in her eyes. Dr. Monroe turned to Ethan. You're lucky, Ethan. A lot of people with long QT syndrome don't get diagnosed until it's too late. Dr. Reyes saved your life. Twice. Ethan looked at me. Thank you. I didn't know what to say. Just doing my job. No, you went beyond that. You cared enough to ask questions, to dig deeper. Most people wouldn't have done that. Linda stood, walked over to me, hugged me. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for seeing my son. for really seeing him. I hugged her back, feeling something break open in my chest. This was why I became a doctor. Not for the diagnoses, not for the procedures, for this. For moments like this, where you make a difference that matters. Over the next week, Ethan improved steadily. His surgical wounds healed. The drains came out. His pain decreased. He started eating, started walking, started smiling. The beta blockers worked. His dizziness stopped. His heart rate stabilized. Genetic testing confirmed long QT syndrome type 2. Linda tested positive too. She started on medication, started seeing a cardiologist. On day 7, Ethan was discharged. I was there when he left, stood in the hallway and watched as he walked out with his mother, slowly, carefully, but walking. He stopped when he saw me. Dr. Reyes, Ethan, I wanted to give you this. He handed me an envelope. What is it? My valedictorian speech, the one I was supposed to give at graduation. I thought maybe you'd want to read it. I took the envelope. Thank you. No, thank you. For everything. He walked away, Linda's arm around his shoulders. I stood there, holding the envelope. Later that night, after my shift, I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot and opened it. Inside was a folded piece of paper, handwritten. His handwriting was neat, careful. I read, "Dear graduating class of 2025, 4 years ago, I walked into Ridgewood High School scared and alone. I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to be, but I knew I wanted to make my mom proud. She sacrificed everything for me, worked 2 jobs, went without so I could have, and I promised myself I would make it worth it. These past 4 years have taught me that success isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you want to quit. It's about choosing to keep going. My mom taught me that. She's the strongest person I know, and everything I've achieved for her. So as we walk across this stage today, I want you to remember, you're not walking alone. You're walking for everyone who believed in you, everyone who sacrificed for you, everyone who loved you enough to push you forward. Make them proud. Make yourself proud. Thank you." I sat there, in my car, in the dark, reading those words over and over, and I thought about my own parents, about the sacrifices they'd made, about the dreams they'd carried so I could carry mine. I thought about Ethan, about how close he'd come to never giving that speech, never walking across that stage, never making his mother proud. But he'd survived, he'd fought, he'd made it through, and maybe that was the real graduation, not the ceremony, not the cap and gown, but the moment you realize you're stronger than you thought, that you can survive what you thought would break you. I folded the speech, put it back in the envelope, tucked it into my bag, and I drove home. It was a Saturday afternoon. I wasn't on call, wasn't at the hospital. I was at home, trying to remember what it felt like to rest. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hi, Dr. Reyes. It's Ethan. I wanted to let you know that my school held a special ceremony for me yesterday. Just me and my mom and the principal. I walked across the stage. I got my diploma, and I gave my speech. My mom cried. I cried. It was perfect. I wanted to thank you again for saving my life, for caring enough to find out what was wrong. I'm starting college in the fall, State University, pre-med, because of you. Because you showed me what it means to be a doctor who sees people. Thank you for everything." I stared at the text, read it 3 times, then I smiled. I typed back, "Congratulations, Ethan. I'm so proud of you. You're going to be an amazing doctor. The world needs people like you. Keep fighting, keep showing up, and don't forget to take care of yourself. You've got a long, incredible life ahead of you." I hit send, sat back, closed my eyes, and for the first time in months, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, peace. Because sometimes the best medicine isn't a procedure or a diagnosis or a treatment plan. Sometimes it's just paying attention, asking questions, caring enough to dig deeper. Sometimes it's seeing the person behind the patient. I'm Dr. Noah Reyes. I'm a resident at St. Halstead Hospital. I'm still learning, still making mistakes, still trying to figure out how to balance science with compassion, knowledge with kindness. But I know this much. Every patient has a story. Every story matters. And sometimes, if you listen carefully enough, you can save more than just a life. You can save a future. Ethan Cross taught me that. He was bleeding internally on his graduation day, but what he was really fighting for wasn't his life. It was his chance to make his mother proud, his chance to prove he was worth the sacrifice. his chance to walk across that stage and show the world that he'd made it. And he did, against all odds, against a shattered spleen and a broken car and a heart that was trying to kill him. He made it, and so will I, because that's what we do. We show up, we keep fighting, we don't give up, not on our patients, not on ourselves, not on the belief that medicine can be more than just fixing what's broken. It can be about seeing what's beautiful, what's strong, what's worth saving. And that's a lesson worth learning every single day.